dark figure stood at the foot of my bed. I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. My heart was racing, and yet strangely, I felt calm, almost as if a hand unseen held me in place. And then, one name hit my mind with a force I cannot explain. Jesus. I didn't grow up in church. I didn't read Bibles. My world was filled with rejection, anger, and a constant chase for attention. I worshipped the mirror in the gym. I worshipped success, likes, validation, but in that moment, all of it crumbled. This isn't a sermon. This is my story. The next 60 minutes will take you through the darkness I walked, the questions I asked, and the proof I found that God is real. If you've ever doubted, if you've ever asked, Jesus, are you real? Then this is for you. I wandered through life, endlessly scrolling, endlessly comparing. Every highlight reel I saw online reminded me of my failures, my loneliness. I chased success, but it never filled the void inside. I tried everything the world promised: money, relationships, recognition, but nothing worked. I became obsessed with explanations. Aliens. Conspiracies. Occult philosophies. Anything to make sense of the emptiness. At night, I would lie awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering why I existed, why I was even here. And yet, in the quiet, a tiny whisper kept asking me questions I didn't want to answer. Why do you feel so empty? Why are you running from the truth? I hated those questions. I ran from them. I numbed myself with entertainment, with constant noise, anything to avoid facing the vacuum inside me. Some nights, I walked through streets empty at 2 a.m., feeling invisible. The city lights blurred into streaks of loneliness. I watched strangers, laughing, connecting, living, and I felt like an outsider, even to myself. And I realized it wasn't just loneliness. It was a longing for something, or someone, real. The valley is not just a place of pain. It is a place of preparation. And I was being prepared for something I couldn't yet see.
It started with a conversation I didn't even want. I overheard a guy talking about faith. I laughed at him in my mind and asked sarcastically, "What do you think about aliens?" He looked at me and said something that stopped me cold. "You're asking the wrong question. You're not looking for UFOs. You're looking for a father." That night, I sat alone. My heart pounding, I whispered the scariest prayer of my life. "Jesus, are you real?" The silence was crushing. Nothing happened. And yet, something inside me shifted. A weight lifted, like the air in the room had changed. I felt watched, not in fear, but in love. And for the first time in years, I felt a hope I couldn't explain. I repeated the words, each syllable trembling, "Jesus, are you real?" And each time I said it, a warmth spread through me, like sunlight piercing the clouds of my doubt.
Then it happened. Not with a voice I could hear in the room, but in my spirit. My life flashed before my eyes, not the mistakes, but the moments where I should have died. I remembered moments where protection I never knew existed kept me alive. And I remembered something my parents told me later. At the exact moment I was spiraling, they heard a voice warning them that something was wrong. It was too precise to be coincidence. The coincidences piled up like breadcrumbs leading me home. I saw faces of strangers who unknowingly changed my life. I saw paths that closed at the perfect moment, as if invisible hands were guiding me the entire time. I cried for the first time in years, not out of sadness, but out of awe. And in that moment, I realized something that shook me to my core. God is not a theory. God is not a concept. God is not a ritual performed on Sundays. He's alive. He's present. He's watching. He's waiting. And he loves you more than you can imagine. The encounter wasn't dramatic. No fire. No thunder. Just an undeniable presence that changed everything. I didn't get saved by religion. I got saved by an encounter. And if you're watching this right now, and that same void is still inside you, that same question still whispers in your heart, I want you to pause for a moment. Look away from the screen. And simply ask one question. Jesus, are you real? He's been waiting for you to ask. Not for your perfection. Not for your knowledge. But for your heart. That simple question can change everything. It can bring light to the darkest valley of your life. You are not alone. The journey through doubt is real. The journey through loneliness is real. But the Father who pursues you is even more real. So open your heart. Ask the question. And when you do, you will never be the same. Subscribe for more encounters. And remember, God is closer than you think.